Yes, I started the recording. So, as I was saying, um, augmented intervals are you can have a spectrum of sorts where diminished intervals is the smallest kind of number of that interval, and augmented is the biggest kind of number for that interval. So essentially, going down is decreasing semitones, and going up is increasing semitones. And same goes for here, except there's only one like middle interval. So let's take a look at this in action. So let's first take a third. Wait a second. Okay, yeah. If we take a third, that is a major third. Actually, I'm gonna go from the smallest possible interval to the biggest possible interval. So the first one is I'm gonna make it into a diminished third, and it would look like this. An augmented third would look like, a minor third would look like this. And why is this? Okay, a major interval like this, and an augmented interval like this. Listen to the, so as you can see, I've kept the root all the same. The top, only the top note changes, and we switch accidentals in that sense. So, um, okay, yep. So, so these are the four kinds of like thirds. First one's diminished third. Second one's minor third. Third one is a major third, and the last one is an augmented third. Notice how every single one is increasing by one semitone. Okay, and now let's do perfect. So this is a perfect fifth. Sorry. Yeah. So this is a perfect fifth, and now it's a diminished fifth. So sorry, I should have yeah. Okay. So now that's a perfect fifth. And if we add one more semitone to the top note, it becomes an augmented fifth. Okay. So most of these intervals, they are not diatonic, so which means they do not belong to the scale. And in grade 4, you are only tested on diatonic augmented and diminished intervals, which means you definitely can find them in the scale. So the only diatonic intervals, diatonic augmented and diminished intervals you can find in a scale are diminished fifths, augmented fourths, augmented seconds, and diminished sevenths. Let's take a look at where you might be able to find, firstly, a augmented fifth or a diminished fourth. Here is C major. Okay, now, fun fact. A diminished fifth or an augmented fourth, firstly, they're the same thing. Secondly, it's what most musicians call a tritone because it's made up of three tones stringed together, and you can fit exactly two of them in a perfect octave. There's lightning outside. So tritone. It's an augmented fourth is called a tritone because it's exactly three tone. And here it is for visual. You can see that a tone from A to B, B to C sharp, and C sharp to E flat or D sharp. So that's how that's a fun fact. Augmented fourth, diminished fifth, they're called tritones. And so where might you find three tones together in a major scale? Okay, let's recall the tone semitone pattern of major scales. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. And so you can tell that there is a triple tone in there somewhere. So here is the C major scale. Where do you find the triple tone? Think of the major scale pattern. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So where do you find the tritone? Where do you find the three tones? Let's mark it out. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. And as we mark it out, you can see that the three tones occur here, and F to B is very clearly a diminished fifth or augmented fourth. So that means that for any major scale at all, let's take F major. F major. There will be an augmented fourth, diminished fifth. There will be a tritone between the subdominant and the leading note. And we can see that that is true. B flat to E flat would be a perfect fourth, therefore B flat to E would be an augmented fourth. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's where to find a diatonic tritone, an augmented fourth, diminished fifth. Okay, and now where to find an augmented second. This is actually pretty simple if you just like think about it intuitively. First, okay, let's take E minor. Oh, whoops. I mean, it's pretty obvious. In the harmonic minor scale, we literally say tone and a half, which means augmented second. Since a semitone is a minor second, a yes, a semitone is a minor second. A yes, a tone is a major second, and therefore an augmented second would be just to add another semitone onto a tone and a half, and we literally say tone and a half. So that's where to find the augmented second. And now let's flip this scale around. So yes, we're gonna start. Actually, no, we're not gonna flip it around. We're just gonna start a little lower. I've only drawn like an octave of E minor starting on the yeah, I started on the dominant, but I think I need to extend it. Okay, there we go. And we can find the augmented seventh between yeah, D sharp and C. Okay, and why does that work, you ask? Because of something called inversion of intervals, which we'll get to later on in this lesson. So but what you need to realize is, since that there is a tone and a half here, there will logically be a tone, and that is an octave, right? And an octave minus a tone and a half would be well, an octave minus a tone and a half, and that would logically be an augmented seventh, because if you think about it, an octave minus one tone, that is a major seventh. An octave minus two tones, or one, I mean, an octave, no, what did I do wrong? Yes, an octave minus one semitone is an octave minus one semitone, that is a major seventh. An octave minus one tone is a minor seventh. An octave minus three semitones, or one or a tone and a half, that makes it yes, that makes it a diminished seventh. Did I say augmented seventh? Sorry, I meant diminished seventh. Right. So, does augmented and diminished intervals make sense? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So basically, the important thing to realize is that you're probably not going to be tested on anything other than diminished fifth, augmented fourth, augmented second, and diminished seventh. Let's take a look at the exam. Actually, I'm pretty sure you don't get tested on that's a minor second. There is actually no augmented. Oh wait, no. Okay, that's peculiar. There's no augmented or diminished intervals in this thing. Whatever. It's in the syllabus, so I'm pretty sure you need to know it. And right, so that's it on diminished and augmented intervals. So in fifth grade theory, you do get introduced to chromatic augmented and diminished intervals. So the intervals with augmented diminished intervals with double sharps and double flats that aren't in any scale at all that you can find, and at that point you'll probably need to resort to counting semitones. And yes. Okay, next. So we should all remember intervals from grade 2, 3. Now we need to know how to invert an interval. So what does it mean to invert an interval? Means you turn it upside down so that the top and bottom notes stay switch places. And you can do that by moving one of the notes one octave up or down, whichever way is fit. And yeah, so this gives a pretty good example. E flat, we take the bottom note, we move it up an octave, and it becomes this. And we could have also done it if we moved the G down an octave. That would have also worked. And so why is inverting intervals important? Because you find inverted intervals in harmony, and inversion of intervals sound nice in the same way that inversion of triads sound nice. Like 1B and 1 sound good together. So thirds and sixths, which are inversions of each other, sound nice. So how to recognize inverted intervals? So as like how to name inverted intervals, sorry. So you always have to name that interval. You always have to name the given interval first. So in which case, what interval would this be? Gracie?
Major third.
Major third, good. So an original major interval inverted will become a minor, and the number of the inverted intervals have to add up to 9. So this is a major third, and major intervals inverted become minor. So this is a minor interval, and as we can tell, it is a minor sixth. And 3 plus 6 equals 9. So check that, it becomes correct. So yeah, subtract the number of the original interval from 9. A major third becomes a minor sixth. 3 plus 6 is 9. Basic math. So yeah, inversion interval, major intervals become minor, minor intervals become major, augmented becomes diminished, diminished becomes augmented, and perfect remains perfect. So a trap to watch out for is what happens when you have to invert an octave. And okay, we have an octave. What most people think is that you'd flip it upside down to create another octave, but that is not right. I'm going to scribble over that so just to show you it's not right. The correct way to do it is, remember how I told you you only move one of the notes, one octave only. So if you were to move that note down, you'd actually have two G's. I can't draw it in this program because it doesn't let me. But you'd actually have two G's, and you'd probably write it something like this. So yes. So an octave inverted becomes a unison, not another octave. And since an octave is perfect, inverted it remains perfect. So a perfect octave inverted becomes a perfect unison. So let's play a rapid fire game. I want you to I'm gonna write a couple of intervals on the board, and rapid fire whoever can name its inversion first. First one, rapid fire. Oops. Okay, so step 1 is to identify this interval. Step 2, invert it. Step 3, you got to figure out what this interval is. So that is clearly a minor third, and 3 plus 6 equals 9, so that's a sixth, and a minor inverted becomes major, so that's a major sixth. Does that make sense? Cool. Whoops. Let's try this. So this is C to G would be a perfect fifth. So if you add one semitone to that, C to G sharp is clearly a augmented fifth. And augmented intervals, when inverted, become diminished. So inverted, it becomes like that. So this is an augmented fifth. 5 plus 4 equals 9. And augmented inverted becomes diminished, so therefore that is a diminished fourth. Make sense? And now let's try so F to A would be a major third, F to A flat is a minor third, therefore F to A double flat is a diminished third. And inverted, it would look like this. And put it up there. And a diminished interval inverted becomes an augmented interval. And 3 plus 6 equals 9. So that is an augmented 6. Okay, one more example, and then we'll play rapid fire. Now this is a diminished second. So clearly F to G is a F to G would be a major second. F to G flat, one semitone, would be a minor second, and F to G double flat would be a diminished second. And inverted, that looks like this. And diminished becomes augmented, and 2 plus 7 equals 9. So that is a augmented seventh. Okay, does that all make sense? Michael, you're a little late. You probably didn't miss out on anything important, aside from augmented and diminished intervals, which I think might be useful if we all just recap that. So augmented intervals is one more than a major interval or a perfect interval, and a diminished interval is one less than a minor interval or a perfect interval. So we can draw a sort of like a spectrum where going right is more semitones and going left is less semitones. So to the very left, diminished intervals, minor intervals, major intervals, and to the far right, augmented intervals. And since perfect doesn't really have like a counterpart, diminished is to the very left, perfect in the middle, and augmented to the very right. So as I said, going right, increasing number of semitones, going left, decreasing number of semitones, and that spectrum just about explains everything. So yeah. All right, let's play rapid fire. So you have to name the inversion of the interval that I write on the board as quickly as possible. In the chat. Gracie, you have to name the inversion. So yep. Emma is correct in naming the inversion. So that is in fact, yes, it's a major sixth, and inverted becomes a minor third. Yes. Next. Um wait. Sorry, I just realized that's actually wrong. There we go. Yep, it's a diminished sixth. So clearly C to E is a major third. C to E sharp is therefore an augmented third because one added semitone. Augmented third, inverted becomes diminished sixth. Right, next. It'd be a perfect fifth because that's clearly a perfect fourth. And perfect intervals inverted remain perfect, and 4 plus 5 equals 9. Let's do a bit of the textbook. So can we do, where is, right, okay, do 1 to, yeah, okay, no, just do 2. I just want to do I just want you to do question 2 in the textbook. That's
what lesson and what page?
Page 22, lesson 7, inversion of intervals, question 2 on page 22. Well, that's kind of peculiar. 222. Hi, Daniel. Since we're on the topic of intervals, I might go over a bit of what's it called? Yeah, transposition using intervals later. Okay. Yep, that's pretty good, Gracie.
What about the last one?
The last one. So yes, right. I'm going to just quickly. Yep, I'll get there now. Okay. So the last one, invert that. It looks like this. So with an E flat and an F sharp, it looks weird, but that's how it's supposed to look. Honestly, no one's gonna call you out if you put the sharp before the flat, but like this is how they did it, so that's how it looks. Also, Michael, are you still at school? All right. All right. Okay, and Emma, could you name the inversions as well? Yeah, that looks good. Michael, we're just waiting for you. Okay, so Michael, what happens with inversions is that you move one of the notes one octave up. So if you look at the first one, that note, if you move it one octave up and you keep that D the same, it should look like that. And another example, moving that up would make the interval look like this. Yeah, okay. So can you fix that first one? Because from what I saw, that first one wasn't quite on the dot. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Can you move it sideways? I want to see the rest. I think some of the others weren't quite correct either. So you have to keep every other note the same. You only can move one of the notes one octave up. Okay, I'll get you to do that later. So let's do some transposition. So it trips you up in fourth grade with transposition. It's not in the textbook, but it's still tested on the exam. So let me just see. Okay, down to D minor, and look at all those accidentals. So this is where so this is where interval method comes in a lot more handy because you don't have to worry about all those accidentals. So firstly, what is we're looking at one of the test paper questions, by the way. So firstly, what is the OG key? What's the original key?
A major.
Try again. Look at the last note. So 3 tips for finding the key. 1, key signature. Big giveaway. 2,
G sharp minor.
no. Starting note. It's usually the dominant. And 3, ending note. It's usually the tonic. Well, actually, there's starting note. There's a couple. So it's usually a dominant. If there's an anacrusis, and another possible way that there's another possible like starting note would be leading note if there is an anacrusis, and tonic if no anacrusis, and the ending note will probably definitely be the tonic. So yes, it's an F sharp minor. It's the relative of A major, so 3 sharps. Yeah, that's right. So Okay, let's do this. So F sharp minor in relation to D minor is a minor third. So sorry, a major third. So you have to take every single note in this melody down a major third. And I suppose most of you are doing the online exam, right? Right, okay. So in that case, it's more economically convenient to copy that thing down onto some manuscript and then transpose it just like that. So you guys can do that right now. So I'll keep that on the screen so you guys can copy it and right, sure. This is actually like no different from grade 3 transposition in any way at all.
Do we copy the words or do we just do the question?
I want you to so if you're doing the online exam, it's more convenient to it would give you a question like this and tell you to transpose it, in which case you should copy down the question onto some manuscript and then do it on paper and then log it back onto the exam. If you're doing paper exam, you don't need to do that, but since we're doing this, we gotta do that.
I'm finished.
Okay, it's probably going to be too hard to check just right now because it's a really big slab of whatever. I think I'm going to create a submission box on Google Classroom so that you can yeah, okay, I'm gonna put a I'm gonna put a bit of a thing on Google Classroom just quickly. And I think I'm gonna put some homework on there later as well.
Do we do the question?
Which question?
Transposition, this one.
Yes. So you wrote it. So can I see that? Okay. Yes. So you copied it out. Now you need to transpose it into D minor. And don't forget the accidentals. Once you're done, I'm going to put a submission box on Google Classroom just for this because it's too big of a file. Or it's not too big. It's just like it's hard to check because there's a lot of stuff. So you can put it on Google Classroom and I'll check it after the class or something. So you have to copy that down and then transpose it into D minor, you know, at the bottom. So yeah.
Because I went straight into the transposing part, can I write the original melody down below it?
Yeah, sure, why not? If everyone's finished, I'm just gonna check the submissions box real quick. Can you also tell me in chat once you're finished so I can keep track? Okay. And on the Google Classroom Dropbox, there's also the transposition homework is there. So once you finish this question, yes, so put it into there's a new submission box on Google Classroom called transposition worksheet submission and homework, you can submit it there because I'm not going to read it in class because it will take too long.
We don't have the link, so we can't get on.
It's on Google Classroom. I'm going to share the link right now. So
Can you put on WeChat?
it's in the Zoom chat. It's okay if you didn't write the original melody down, but on the actual, so if you're doing the online exam, it's always easier to, so when you get to the transposition question, it's always easier to copy what's on the exam onto a piece of manuscript and then put it back. After all, you have plenty of time, and it's more important that you get it right on the paper, and so you can fix mistakes and whatnot. Right, Emma's finished, and we're waiting. And we'll wait on a couple more. Just Gracie and Michael. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left. Honestly, I don't know what we could do in 10 minutes, except we gotta continue on so what we did last week. So we did a bit of how to proceed perfect cadences last week. So let's wait for Michael. Okay, so just okay. Take a look at this. So let's okay. So how to proceed a perfect cadence. We put a chord 1 before a chord 5, and we also tried putting chord 4 before the chord 5. So First, let's write the perfect cadence. Okay, and so I'm just gonna write the perfect cadence first. I'm just trying to get everything. Okay, so we've got a perfect cadence here. And if we are to precede this perfect cadence with 1, it's very simple. We just put that back over here. So it should sound like this. Where am I sharing screen? Whoops. I'm sharing my sound. Okay, it should sound like this. Right. And so I think
don't think you're
Gracie?
sharing with audio.
I'm
Is
not
I
it
can't
okay?
hear it.
That's weird. Try. Did you hear that? Nope. Wait a second, let me just test my audio real quick.
Wow, 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 wow.
So I was trying to test my audio. It should be okay. Okay, try this. Nope. Okay. Dang it. Maybe this one. Okay. Let's just leave that then. You know how it's supposed to look like, and that's what I mostly care about. So, 151 and 451. So let's put this perfect cadence in first. Okay, and now with 4. So 4 has FACF, and what you want to do, instead of making everything go up, you want to make everything go down. Well, not everything. You want to make most things go down. And you are allowed to make one voice leap down like that. So what happens here is that ignore the stems, by the way, they're in the wrong direction. Don't know how to fix them. Actually, I might know how to fix them. Okay, that sort of helps. Anyway, what did I do wrong?
Where'd Gracie go?
I don't know. She probably just logged out or something. Okay, right. There we are. So and I suppose you still can't hear this, so I'm going to have to. Okay, how about now? No, okay. Again, I would really like you to hear this, but that you can't. So
Are you sharing with audio?
I am sharing with audio, but it's probably just not registering.
Maybe I'm
Oh wait,
sharing.
no. Okay, no, I think I just figured out something. Let's try this. Okay, well that sucks, cause anyway, so I'll just ignore that for now. So when you're writing 451, you want to make only the bass will step up. Everything else has to go down. Otherwise, you'll have consecutives, and that's why most people stop up, because they make every single thing go up, and then there's so many consecutives that way, and that's not good. So 451, everything has to step down. So I want you guys to write a 451 in G major. Gracie, you're back. So Gracie, I was just explaining where when you proceed a perfect cadence with 4, you have to make sure that every single voice goes down, and only the bass goes up. Gracie, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So in 451, when you have a 4 going to a 5, you want to make every single other voice except for the bass go down, otherwise you'll have consecutives. So you can see that in 451, bass steps up, 2 voices step down, and another voice leaps down a third. So everyone right now is writing a 451 in G major. All right. Let me just get a look at that. Yep, that's really good. Michael, you can go. Yeah. By the way, you two, so part of the grade 4 learning, like if you've looked a bit in later chapters, then you'll realize part of the syllabus is you need to understand the Baroque suite. So I've had a little bit of a thinking. I've just thought like what if I played a bit of like Bach's Baroque suites in class while you're doing your work? Do you think that would help? Okay, sure. Wait a second. I think there's a wrong note in there somewhere. Can I take a look at that? Okay, check the notes in the dominant chord. There's something slightly wrong with that. Okay, Grace, unfortunately you're gonna have to move that D up because a bass can't sing that low. And what you did again was exactly what I said you probably shouldn't do in 4. You made every single voice step up. Can you see? So can you see how you made every single voice go up? You can't do that. You have to make them go down. And also move the bass up. Yep. And guys, I need to go for something else. So I will yep, Emma, that's good. And Gracie, sorry, I gotta go. You can submit that in the you can submit that for homework if you want. See ya. Bye, Gracie.